Can you tell where I'm sitting? Just try and imagine this spot after midnight. Here's my ride. Part of the historical heart of Paris. This is the Latin Quarter. It's a district brimming with cafes and cinemas and traces of the history of Paris dating back 2,000 years. Oh, my knees! We'll start at the heart of the Latin Quarter, the Sorbonne University. That's why it's called the Latin Quarter, because university students centuries ago spoke Latin, so it became known as the Latin Quarter. Today you hear every language on the planet apart from Latin. Paris students still come here, of course. There are various university faculties dotted around. It's the best place to come to find books of all sorts, from textbooks to whatever else. And the Latin Quartier is the best place in Paris to go to the cinema to watch art house flicks or old classics. The Latin Quarter is a bit bigger than you might think. Go just a few streets past the touristy part and you'll find plenty of cafes, bars, restaurants and other things to do. If you're a history buff, the best place to start is the Museum of the Middle Ages, known in French as Musée de Cluny. It's built on Roman ruins that used to be baths. But the main thing you'll want to see here are the 15th century tapestries known as the Lady and the Unicorn. If you want to see a real Roman arena, you can come here. Just try not to miss the passage because it's kind of hidden. And you get to Les Arènes de Lutèce. Dun 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 dun! They're amphitheaters built in the 2nd century when the Romans ruled Gaul, what is become known as France. Here people came from across Paris, then called Lutetia or Lutèce in French, to watch plays or gladiators or wild animals fight each other. You had, the rich men sitting at the ringside while the lesser people, women and children, were sat higher up. It kept on getting built on, and this went on until the 19th century when they wanted to set up a tram system around here. That's when they uncovered the arena. A society sprang up, spearheaded by Victor Hugo, and they tried to stop construction happening. Victor Hugo wrote a letter saying it's not possible for Paris, the city of the future, to renounce the living proof that it was a city of the past. The past leads to the future. That's beautiful. And he won. Because the buildings were already here. Some lucky people now sit on something from the 2nd century. But yeah, he kept it. Today it's used more for social football games or pétanque. Nearby is a cool little square full of cafes called Place de la Contrescarpe. This is where a lot of students hang out, so prices are a bit more affordable. There's also a big garden in the Latin Quarter. It's not Le Jardin de Luxembourg, which isn't in the Latin Quarter itself. It's the Jardin des Plantes. It is rows and alleys of beautiful plants, really interesting. And of course you have the most beautiful greenhouses. One of them is just there. It looks something out of a book. And you have a museum of natural history as well, if that's your thing. And across the road, Paris's Mosque, which boasts a lovely inside courtyard where you can take tea or eat a meal, no matter what religious stripe you might be from. Heading to the other side of the Latin Quarter, the part that takes in a little bit of the 6th arrondissement, there's Odéon. It's a busy part of Paris because roads and metros intersect here. So if you spot this door between cafes, you get into a tiny little alleyway. There are a few cute establishments, one of which I brought you to because it's one of the oldest cafes in Paris. It's called Le Procope. It's been here since 1686 and it's where Marie Antoinette and Napoleon used to come. So the inside is quite interesting to have a visit. For even more history in this district, there's Le Panthéon, a big building whose dome you can see poking over rooftops wherever you are in Paris. Inside is where you'll find the tombs of more than 80 famous French people, including Voltaire, Victor Hugo, Émile Zola, Alexandre Dumas, and a cenotaph in honor of Josephine Baker, a black dancer and singer who was born American but became French, and who helped out in the French resistance in World War II. There are so many ways you can have a perfect day in the Latin Quarter, and there is one way to have a great night! Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.